August 19th marks a big milestone for Google. It has been 10 years since the company's debut at the NASDAQ. Here is Walt Mossberg's first review of the search giant back in 2001. Quote, "What is the most useful site on the World Wide Web?" Well, that answer might vary widely depending on whom you'd ask, but I'd like to propose a candidate, Google, which is simply the best search site I've ever used, end quote. Joining us now for more on Google and his weekly review is Walt Mossberg, the co-executive editor now for Recode. Walt, great to see you this morning. And you knew in 2001, but I think Stephen Levy, we had a quote from him in 1998 where he was talking about how great Google was.
That Levy always is ahead of me, I have to say, by several years. You know.
It was several years after that, though, before the public certainly had adopted it en masse, and then it was off to the races.
That's right. And, you know, what I was writing about in that column was search, and one of the really important things that I liked about it was not just the accuracy. We did a bunch of tests that proved it, but the honesty was a big point I made. They clearly labeled ads. They didn't sell places in the search results to outside companies like some people were doing at the time. But since then, they've gone well beyond searches, you know, and I would think of, you know, there's a million products they've done, some of which are just sort of experimental, but, you know, the big ones obviously are Android, the Chrome browser, and probably Gmail. I think those things, and Google Maps, sorry, and those things are the really big deals that we've seen from them.
Well, 2001, 2002 was a pretty incredible time. It's easy to forget. A lot of people were down on Silicon Valley. .com bust had happened, but the iPod and Google and iTunes were really taking shape. Anything that you see now that has that kind of under-the-radar, interesting cachet that people might otherwise ignore?
You know, I think we're actually in an interesting period which is just essentially iterative right now. It's hard to think of something in the last year that I think could explode the way those things did.
Do you think, I'm just thinking of email. You know, I can remember the tingle I got for that Gmail invite back in I think it was something like 2001. Is email over, though? And if that's the case, where does Google fall in kind of this next iteration of messaging?
Well, first of all, they have other messaging clients. I mean, Hangouts is the main one now. They've had a sort of branding issue with that in the past, but I don't think email's over. And so I think, you know, Gmail is going to be an important thing for them for quite a while.